Today, we're going to talk about 10 things you need to know about working with a designer. Expect a lot of questions. Imagine that you're sitting down with a really good friend who is trying to understand how to best help your family. That's what we do. So some of those questions might feel a little bit invasive, or you might be a bit shy about, oh my God, my pantry's a mess. I can't stand it. I don't really want to show it to anybody. But if we don't understand what your frustrations and problems are in the home that you're living in, then we can't solve them. So expect to have a very frank dialogue with your designer about all kinds of things that you might not expect up front, but that will benefit you in the long term. We need your budget right away. And it might feel counterintuitive because the design hasn't started yet, but we really need to understand the goal and the guidelines for your family. Not everybody has a pie in the sky, unlimited budget. Very few people do. So it's helpful for us to understand where you're thinking you would like to land in terms of budget. And then we can give you an intelligent answer about, okay, well, for this type of project, actually this range is more realistic. And so that's why we start to talk about budget early in the process. It's not that we are setting out to try to spend every dollar you've saved for this project. It's that we are understanding what's comfortable for your family, and then we can guide you towards that goal if we understand what it is. If we don't know what the goalpost is, then we don't know where to shoot. Understand when your specific project budget becomes final. There are a bunch of different ways that our industry quotes projects. We can estimate at the beginning of the project, and we can give you a high level number of what that might be. You know, it'll be in this range between X and Y in order to do your project. But if we gave you an absolute number at this time or charged lump sum, we'd be making a guess. We'd be wrong. And then one of us loses. So it's either you, because we had to pad the numbers to make sure we didn't lose out, or it's us because we underestimated. And so after so many years in this industry and having tried pricing and witnessed pricing being done 20 different ways, we've just come to the place where we decide on the design, we have you make your selections, and then we price your project, and there are no surprises, and there is no hidden padding, and it's all transparent. And for some people, a lump sum number up front is reassuring, and that's what they want to do. I just don't feel it's always in the client's best interest. Designers are not miracle workers. Good design takes time. I don't have a magic wand. Nobody wants to write a blank check against design time. I have yet to meet that client. However, it does take time to build all the layers of an effective plan. There are the construction drawings, there are the specification lists, there are the time and research that goes into specifying each and every material that goes into your home. It looks like magic and it looks like a miracle, but there's a lot of careful detail work that happens in the background, and we don't necessarily bill for every moment of that time. Sometimes we just leave that right off the invoice because we're interested in getting to the right result as well. Manage your expectations. When you are engaging a design professional, are you clear about what it is that you're hoping to achieve? You might not know how you're going to get there, but what is it that you're trying to do? Are you trying to organize your kitchen? Are you trying to simplify your life? Are you trying to eliminate the bottleneck at the back door when everybody's arriving and leaving at the same time? What is it that you are trying to achieve in this project? And do you have a realistic timeline in mind? We can't come in with a magic wand and completely renovate your home inside of 4 weeks. It just is not physically possible. Are you willing to listen to good professional advice? Have you prepared yourself emotionally for the inevitable bumps in the road that will happen? Renovations are way more complex than new builds. We don't always know exactly how things have been built. We have a good look, we have a pretty good understanding, we do the testing, and we understand heading into construction what's involved, but we don't always know everything. We can't see into the future. So, are you prepared to ride out those bumps that will occur with the help and the support of your design and construction team? We want your project to be as seamless as possible, as much as you do. So, let's all work together as a team in order to get you to the right result. Hire the right designer for the job. Not all designers do exactly the same kinds of things. Some people are focused very much on commercial, some people are focused on residential. When you hire an interior designer, you are essentially hiring an interior architect. In many parts of the world, that's what a designer is called, and that's what the training involves. So we look at spaces from an interior perspective in terms of volumes and spaces and passageways and functions, very much like an architect does. So if you are looking to move walls and redesign your kitchen and make sure that the functionality of your home is fantastic, then yes, you need an interior designer. If what you're looking for is softer and in items that are not attached to your home, that's a good guideline to use. Then you're looking at furnishings, and perhaps an interior decorator is qualified enough to be able to help you with furniture and toss pillows and area rugs and art and all the things that make your home comfortable. So just understanding the distinction between the two professions can be super helpful to you so that you hire the right professional. Know what design only means. Designers will often contract to provide a set of drawings and a set of specifications that you will take elsewhere to have built by someone else. We do that all the time. It's common practice in the industry. It means that the designer is not going to be running anything to do with the construction, but that someone else will be. Clarify whether or not you want the designer to allow some time, some hours, some design hours to come out to the site, to meet with the contractor, and to make sure that the tile is going to be installed the way that you and she or he have discussed. Clarify if you would like to include material selections in that design process, or are you just looking for drawings? So is it drawings or drawings and materials? And if it's drawings and materials, then do you also want your designer to go out and meet with the construction team to make sure that things get installed in the form of site visits as well? So there are these three components, at least in any design process, that you should clarify with your designer before you start construction. Know what design build means. Why do I love this term? Because it's what we do. The same team that did your design is the same team that is actually doing your construction. And I structured KHD that way because after witnessing all the many ways in which design and construction is handled in our industry, I wanted to eliminate the knowledge gap and the breakdown in communication that happens when the designer and the contractor are working separately. So that one person, the designer, does your design, oversees construction, and does quality control as the construction unfolds to make sure that you get exactly what was discussed at the beginning of the design process. That's what design build is. You're going to need to compromise with your partner. Now, that does not mean that anybody has to lose. We actually create all kinds of solutions that are truly win-win for couples. We listen very carefully to both of you. You listen carefully to each other. And in the mix of that, with the perspective of a designer, we actually can pull out the things that are going to make you both very happy in the long term. There was a family that I worked with a few years ago, and they had been married for 25 years and never been able to agree on how they should furnish their living room. We brought them together. We did our whole survey and all of the questions that we ask. And as we were getting about 3/4 of the way through the project, we were sitting here in the studio in a meeting, and the one turned to the other and said, I had no idea that there were so many things that we actually wanted the same thing on. We just couldn't hear each other say that. And so that's what a good designer will do, is they will listen to everyone and they will find the workable win-win solutions for your family. Trust the process. Change is uncomfortable, and you are going to be uncomfortable some of the time. It's a large investment for families to make these kinds of changes in their home. And so, of course, you worry. And that's a huge part of the journey, is having this trusting relationship with a qualified professional who has done this before, who can guide you through the entire process. I'm not saying don't ask questions. Be curious, engage in communication, share with us how you're feeling, but also stay open. I will often say to clients at the beginning of a relationship, now, there will come a day where I will say, you need to trust me. And then 4 months later, I will call on that token. Well, today is that day. So I'll take them by the hand and I'll say, this is what we need to do here. It might feel counterintuitive or it might feel scary, but believe me, I can see it and it is the right thing to do. And we'll all be happy at the end. And inevitably, we are. Thank you. I hope these tips about working with a designer have been helpful to you. I'm curious to know if there are other things that you would like to learn about how to best work with a designer, or any other topics related to home design and furniture. We're so excited to have you join us on our podcast, and please share your comments. Have a beautiful day.